Hoops are back. I'm pumped. The Knicks are back. The Heat are back. Everyone's back. I sit down. I talk my favorite odds for which NBA future awards I like the most. I talk about Coach of the Year, Most Improved, Clutch Player of the Year, Most Valuable Player, even like stuff like Sixth Man of the Year. Tune in. Let's go. It's exciting. And remember, gamble responsibly. Welcome back to Klein's Corner, favorite place to get your news, knowledge, and action, from TVs to books, everyday night life and knowledge and just awesome stuff. Okay, we're back. NBA is officially underway. Last night we had two awesome games. Well, first one, awesome if you're a Celtics fan. They tied the NBA record for most threes hit in a game with 29. They actually tied it with 8 minutes and 49 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, but couldn't hit any to break the record, actually. Losers. Just kidding. No, it's actually pretty awesome. Pretty cool to see, especially on ring night as well. And then we had the second uh action-packed day for basketball was Timberwolves versus Lakers, and AD just put on a clinic to stop the Timberwolves from even getting close. It was a close game towards the end. It was kind of just like garbage time points, just quick buckets and less deep. But awesome, super cool to see JJ Redick for his first win as a Lakers head coach. So cool for them. Great to see basketball back, and we're here today to talk a little bit about some preseason, not really preseason, but the future awards. Look at some of the odds and what odds I like to, if I was a betting man. I was just like looking at it, being like, oh, these odds are fun. If I was going to bet these are the odds I would take. I'm not that into sports gambling. It's just fun. So let's start with Coach of the Year. I'll probably do like one or two for each. Some aren't as cool as the other. Um, so those Coach of the Year last year, we had Mark Dagnall won it for the OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder. And this year, I was looking at these awards, and honestly, Mark Dagnall, I don't hate him again. To be honest, I was looking at his odds and they were pretty good. Not gonna lie. Um, they were plus 1300. Um, and I looked at these. Okay, they stayed the same. I put my notes down from last night. They're plus 1300. Like I said, he won it last season. The Thunder are favorite are they're they're favorites to win in the West for sure. The Celtics are definitely favored to win it all. The NBA Finals. They're definitely favored in the West. Um, Isaiah Hartenstein, who they signed over the offseason, just had a hand injury. Um, so he'll be out for at least a month, they say. Um, so if he can keep up like still being in first place while Hartenstein's out, because I mean, they'll have Chet Holmgren. He'll probably be in the center position, but they were not banking a lot on Hartenstein, but they gave him a big contract, um, because I mean, rightfully so, because he did really well with the Knicks last year, and he's a perfect fit because besides Holmgren, then I just don't really, they don't really have that much besides like. I mean, maybe, yeah, they really don't have that much depth in terms of really big man. I mean, SGA, but he's kind of like Luca, where he's like a guard slash wing, can guard the kind of bigger players. Lou Dort can almost guard like kind of every position, kind of guy. But besides Holmgren, they don't really got a lot of big men who can guard like that. And also Hardenstein, in terms of what he does, they got like Jalen Williams and stuff. But what what Hardenstein does really well is offensive rebound. Like he's really, really good at that. Um, and he's huge. He was probably him and Mitch Rob. Honestly, the Knicks had probably the best offensive rebounders in the league when they had Mitch and Hardenstein on the floor. And they got Kenrich Williams. He's pretty good. But yeah, that's it. It's a big blow for the Thunder. They'll still be pretty good, obviously. But if Diagonal can keep up, consistently winning with OKC, and a lot of the times for Coach of the Year, it's really like who surprises the most. Like when Bickerstaff, when the Cavs did really well a few years ago, when Bickerstaff won it, that surprised a lot of people. Um, and when the Suns, when Monty Williams won it in 2021. Um, that surprised everyone, or he won it when they went on that little finals run. Or he won it. Sorry, he won it when they went to he won it not the COVID season. I mean, that was the bubble, but yeah, so he won in 2022 when they kind of just like cooked, did really well. Um, But obviously, yeah, it's kind of just Coach of the Year is just pretty much who surprised everyone. Currently the favorite for Coach of the Year, this is all these odds are on DraftKings, is Ime Udoka at plus 1800. And you have Joe Mazzulla plus 1,000. Joe Mazzulla, I mean, that's not a bad bet because Joe Mazzulla low key should have won it right now. I heard, who was it? So I was talking with someone and they're saying like Joe Mazzulla is really good because he'll give like guys like Peyton Pritchard minutes at the end to give him confidence to, make half court shots in the NBA Finals. We also have Mike Budenholzer plus 1,300 isn't bad. What's crazy to me is that Eric Spoelstra's never won Coach of the Year, and he's my opinion. I'm a Heat fan too, so I'm a little biased, but I think Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. He consistently takes like the Heat, who are a low playoff seed, into a deep run. So yeah, it's crazy that he's never won it, but he's probably the best coach in the NBA, in my opinion. Maybe besides, yeah, I mean, I'll say he's a better coach, arguably better coach than Greg Popovich. Jason Kidd plus 2,500. I don't hate that. Coming off of a, finals appearance. They got Klay Thompson. They could give some more wins. I think people don't really have a lot of high. I mean, I guess they have high expectations because they're coming off of a finals. People definitely have high expectations for Luka. He's one of the, I think he's the favorite to win MVP, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So yeah, I like, either even Michael Malone if Nuggets, people are kind of counting the Nuggets out because they lost KCP to the Magic. Michael Malone's plus 1,800. Coach of the Year is not that fun, honestly, to talk about. And we can go to like Clutch. We'll go to Clutch Player of the Year. Clutch Player of the Year is just the way it kind of sounds who makes the most big time. It's usually like Steph Curry, SGA. Um, Honestly, Darren Fox, didn't he? I'm pretty Darren Fox won it not too long ago. Um, Let me fact check that. Yeah, but I kind of like honestly Donovan Mitchell plus 1,800. That's not bad if he can stay healthy. Um, I mean Stephen Curry is definitely a pretty good bet for sure. Um, I mean, yeah, Clutch Player of the Year has only been around for 2 years. Um, yeah, Darren Fox won it the first year, and Steph Curry won it last year. I mean, what's crazy is that DeMar DeMar DeRozan's been a runner-up, but not a runner-up. He's been a nominee twice, but has never won it. He was third in 2023 and second last year. Um, Ja Morant plus 2,200, sneaky. He's pretty clutch. He's made some big time buckets when he was playing back in 2022 and 2023. I like it. It's not bad. Um, Dame Lillard. I mean, is it me or did he kind of seem more clutch because he was like the only guy on his team? I mean, he had CJ and CJ was a good shooter, but the team Dame wasn't like a heliocentric player, but he was the Blazers were Dame, he was that team. Um, he was a leader of that team. He was one of the best leaders in the NBA besides LeBron. I mean, he led that team to the playoffs consistently because either CJ or um Yusuf Nurkic would be out all the time. So, um, but now he's got Giannis and Chris Middleton, but Chris Middleton's pretty injured. So he had ankle. ankle surgery on two of his ankles over the offseason. So Damian Lillard's plus 1400, but I do like John Morant at plus 2200 for clutch player of the year. Um, I think he'll be really good. People have high expectations for the Grizzlies this year, as I've talked about in my past podcast. Um, with them drafting Zach Edey, John Morant being fully healthy, them getting Brandon Clark back. It'll be a fun year for the Grizzlies for sure. Some other guys, other bets. Ooh, Victor Wembanyama plus 4,000. He's not really a shooter, but like some clutch buckets. I don't hate it. Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, I'd probably just go with Luka Doncic. I mean, plus 1100. See, the clutch, I mean, these ones definitely aren't as fun for sure. But yeah, if I was just gonna pick two, I'd probably pick, like I said, um, John Morant plus 2200, and then mm, Luka. I could say Jalen Brunson at 1400, but I know I think they got a lot of options on the Knicks now. Not options, but like I don't know. I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Brunson, he'll take the last second shots for sure. But I just feel like Luka is just so synonymous with being clutch now. Um, and I feel like Brunson won't have to take as many last second shots because guys like Cat like spaces the floor a bunch too. All-Star, what is this? Da, da, da. Okay, so we've done clutch player of the year, we've done coach of the year. Let's go to rookie of the year. Rookie of the year, not as fun because if if you follow the NBA, you know that this rookie class is really not that interesting. Um, I mean, obviously not as interesting as, Wembanyama and Scoot and Brandon Miller and all those guys, and especially not like the Cooper Flag and the Harper and like the Cooper Flag draft for next in 2025 and all those guys. But Zach Edey is currently the favorite at plus 350. Um, maybe like Rookie of the Year to me, it kind of just the brass taxes, it just comes down to who can get the most minutes, to be honest. Um, and I guess would be like to really could just come down to, like if guys get injured, rookies get playing time. Um, this one was kind of harder. I kind of went with I kind of went with Buzelis because Buzelis, he's good. He's like a good big man, but if he can develop a shot, then he'll be really good. I mean, he's 6'10". He's good on defense. If he can develop a shot, then he'll be really good. I think if he starts getting a shot and can play the defense that people think that he can play, then he can phase out possibly Vucevic. But that's a stretch. That's like he's got to because Vucevic is a professional, like been in the league for a while. So that's asking. That's like for him to do that in the first year would be crazy. But I also don't know how good the Bulls are going to be at the same time. Um, Stefan Castle, maybe he can make a second half run. Montas Bellis is plus 1,000. He's fourth. Stefan Castle's fifth plus 1,100. He's tied with Dalton Connect for fifth. Stefan Castle, draft pick for the Spurs out of UConn. Um, if he can learn behind CP3, that'd be pretty freaking cool. Not gonna lie. Because CP3, they said, when people asked Shea about, what he learned, his first few years in the league, he talked about how much Chris Paul taught him and how much it meant to be like how much he taught him to be a professional in the NBA and how to grow and how to train and all that stuff. So yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Second half of the season, Stefan Castle learns everything, boom, blows up, does really well. Um, that's another one. Yeah, like I said, the rookies this year aren't as exciting as they have been in the past. Um, so we can move on after that. I would say, um, there's also guys like the DraftKings says Ron Holland is Ronald Holland, um, which isn't terrible. Plus 2,000. I mean, if he just shoots the lights because he's kind of drafted as a shooter. Rob Dillingham, Ron Holland's plus 2,000 for the plus 2,000 for the Pistons, and they drafted him to be a shooter. People thought it was kind of a stretch because he's pretty raw, but if he shoots well, then those odds aren't bad. Um, Kel'el Ware, he was doing pretty well in the summer league for the Heat. People kind of thought that was interesting pick for the Heat, but he was a baller um for the Heat in the summer league. And even as a Heat fan for myself, I was kind of skeptical of the pick, but I saw him play, and man, he was pretty good. I will say that. Um, definitely surprised me for sure. And honestly, I trust the Heat. Like during that Celtics Heats during the Heats, well, the 2023, 2024, sorry, 2022, 2023 run. Yeah, because wait, last season was 2020. Wait, what year are we? Yeah, 2022, 2023, when it was like Caleb Martin, um, Max Strus, who else are we talking about? Yeah, Martin, Strus, Robinson, when they were all talking about undrafted second round picks, Junko guys. People were loving them, and the Heat. I trust the Heat's, draft picks. I mean, sometimes they don't. I'm pretty sure they drafted guys like Justice Winslow. No, they didn't. Am I tripping? Didn't they draft Justice Winslow? Where is Justice Winslow now? Who knows? Oh yeah, he's on the Blazers. That's right. Oh, St. John's High School. Yeah, he was drafted by the Heat. 10th overall pick. I mean, but that's the NBA. Not everyone works out. So, I mean, look at the Knicks. Neil Keena, Kevin Knox. Busts happen all the time. It's just normal. Yeah, Kel'el Ware. I mean, he's pretty good. October 18th, you know, 17 for 7 for 17, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 6 defensive rebounds, 1 offensive rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Pretty good. He's behind Bam, so he's got a lot to learn for sure. I like it. He'll be good. Okay, now to some more interesting things. We can go to um defensive player of the year. Wemby, this one's crazy because Wemby is at an astonishing um minus 170, which honestly makes sense for Wemby that he's minus 170 because he finished he finished runner up last year. Rudy Gobert won last year. Um, he had a 109.3 defensive rating last year. Wemby 3.6 blocks per game, 1.2 um 1.2 steals per game. So makes sense why he's minus 170. Um, I don't know why Rudy Gobert is plus 1,400. Maybe oh yeah, okay. It's probably because it's really hard to win back to back. I mean, Rudy Gobert's done it before. Back to back defensive player of the year awards. Especially maybe because it's just the new fit. We'll see how that works with, Julius Randle and Dante going in to Minnesota. We'll see how that fits in. But yeah, man, Wemby's a astonishing minus 170, which just crazy to me. So you probably what you have to to win. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, he's so good. Like if you watch him play, you're like, okay, yeah, this guy was is the best prospect of all time. That makes sense because he's actually crazy. Um, I mean, he covers so much ground. I'm Plan on plan on seeing him in November in San Antonio. So that's gonna be pretty cool. I'm super hyped about that. Um, yeah, so the odds are minus 170. If you bet 100, if you bet 100 to win 58.82, wait, what the heck? Okay, yeah, you bet 100. So the odds are minus 170. You bet 100, you pay out as 158.82. So yeah, you have to bet more to win. If you bet more, you won't double your money pretty much because odds are plus. Yeah, defensive player of the year odds, they're all right. Chet Holmgren plus 1200 isn't terrible. I just think Wemby's just gonna cook. I just think I just think Wemby's just gonna absolutely eat alive because he's covers so much ground. Like if you just listen to some of the players talk about how they're supposed to shoot over him, they're like, we just can't. We just literally can't do anything about it, and it's impossible. It's just we can't. They can't do anything about it, and they're kind of screwed. Why can't I find where I put these? I had some crazy freaking notes. Um, but no, I mean Chet, he was really good last year too in terms of blocks as well. Um, in his la wow, in his last 10 games, he averaged um 4.1 blocks per game. One, two, three, but yeah, 4.1 blocks per game. Say 41? There's no way that's 41. Oh, I guess you're right. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, averaged 41. He averaged 4.1 blocks in the last 10 in his last 10 games he played, he averaged 4.1 blocks, which is pretty crazy in my humbled opinion. Let's see how much he averaged in his last 20 games. Statmuse is awesome. Shout out Statmuse. Statmuse, he averaged 4.4 blocks in his last 20 games. He had 88 blocks. Pretty crazy. But it's not because he's 7'4" and he's crazy. His wingspan's like 8 feet. It's wild. Yeah, so he's minus 170. Not usually sometimes I was told never to make like future bets are kind of for fools, but they're fun. I mean, I maybe I'll never make sometimes they're like novelty bets, like someone told me they made a novelty like Bronny James bet to win Rookie of the Year, like they just put $1 on it. Um, yeah, you have Victor Wembanyama minus 170, and then you have Chet Holmgren plus 1200, Rudy Gobert plus 1400, Bam Adebayo plus 1400, Evan Mobley plus 1600, Anthony Davis plus 1800. Anthony Davis was the way he was playing really good last year. I just don't think personally he can do he can be as dumb. I mean, last night, if you watched him last night, he was crazy on both boards. In terms of offensive and defensively, but he played a lot of games last year. Um, and I don't think his body, knowing how his body holds up in the past, like he played 76 games last year out of 82. Like that's a lot of games. It's third most he's ever played in his career. Psych, that's the most he's ever played in his career. Um, Honestly, being called injury prone. So good for honestly giving his flowers. Um, but yeah, he did really well yesterday. He had 36 points yesterday. He had 3 blocks. He had 4 assists. He had 16 rebounds. Um, so yeah, but I don't think he can keep both of those. I don't think he averaged. Okay, sorry, I thought he averaged 36. My notes first, I thought my notes put down that he averaged 36 last year too. No, he had 24.7, but I think it's for defensive player of the year. Unless there's like years like Giannis where it's like you have to have for me, if you're like winning defensive player of the year and you're able to be like that offensive, carry like an offensive load and be that offensive, be as dominant offensively, that's an MVP for sure. Like if you can be that good defensively and offensively, that's just give him the MVP at that point, in my opinion. And that's why I think Giannis deserved when he got MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, rightfully so. Because a lot of the times, I'm not an NBA player, but when I'm playing pickup basketball, sometimes I kind of have to decide. I'm like, okay, do I want to put more energy into, creating offense, trying to score, or trying to lock on my defender? And that's how I say, what would AD do? No. But I think if you're able to do that well on offense, do really well on offense, like be a first team All NBA or second team All NBA on offense, and be a first team All NBA on defense, to give him the MVP. It's a hot take, but I respect it. So, Anthony Davis plus 1800 for Defensive Player of the Year. Not a terrible bet in my opinion. Um, or Giannis Defensive Player of the Year. That isn't plus 2000. I don't hate that. Okay, on to what haven't we done yet? Let's go to six man of the year. And then after six man, we'll go to most improved and then finally MVP. Six man of the year. Okay. Six man of the year. We had Nas Reed win it last year. Six man of the year kind of just depends on, really depend on much, not really necessarily on injuries. Right now, Malik Monk, who usually is kind of one of those guys every year who was always up there in terms of six man of the year award. I mean, in terms of six man is highest odds for six man of the year, rightfully so. Like he's really good off the bench, in my opinion. I think he's great. And it seems like he likes being in and what am I trying to say? Where the heck? Sacramento, sorry. Yeah, so he's plus 450. Nas Reed is plus 1,000. Second, Benedict Mathurin's plus 1,200. Dante DiVincenzo plus 1,200. Karis LeVert plus 1,200. I personally like Miles McBride. That could just be, my Knicks homer kind of take. But Miles McBride in 14 games as a starter for the Knicks last year, he averaged 17.9 points, 4.1 assists, 3.2 rebounds. Not bad. And then yesterday for the Knicks, he played 26 minutes, 22 points, two assists, 8 for 10 from the field, and 4 for 5 from 3-point line. Not terrible. I forgot I meant to look at the odds before this. They probably have gone up since last night. Um, but I mean, yeah, that's why I like Miles McBride because he's pretty good. And Dante DiVincenzo's gone, so he'll play. I mean, 22 minutes, that's perfect amount for a six man. Um, we'll see what it's like when Mitch comes back because you have Cat playing the five and OG playing four, Josh playing three, Mikal playing two, Brunson playing the one, and then you have McBride coming in for Mikal Bridges, the two. So we'll see how it all kind of works out. But I still really like McBride for six man of the year. And then I mean Russell Westbrook plus 2,000 for the Nuggets. Jokic has never played with an all-pro player before. I mean, Russell Westbrook certainly not an all-pro player anymore, but uh certainly certainly pretty it certainly would be interesting to see if he can unlock something. I mean, Russell Westbrook wasn't horrible. Like he was useful for the Clippers last year. He had his moments for sure. Like he's not a complete dud. Um so plus I mean if everybody puts 2,000, that's not bad. I don't know about Payton Pritchard. Andrew Nemhard, not bad. He was really good for uh, the Pacers last year, and I'm pretty sure he just got an extension too, so good for him. Spencer Dinwiddie, no thanks. Trey Murphy plus 4,000. That's not bad. I just don't really like these six man of the year features. They're not as fun for the players, in my opinion. Um, None of these are really calm. Buddy Hield plus four. Buddy Hield coming off the Buddy Hield plus 1,400. I mean, just gets in, comes in, shoots a bunch of threes, comes out. Not bad. Plus 1,400. Norm Powell, he's usually up there actually for six man of the year award. So if you can get Norm Powell up plus 1,600, honestly, I should look this. Let's look at six man of the year voting. Norm Powell is usually up there for, six man of the year voting. Um, Norm Powell had 65 total votes last year. Malik Monk. Wow, Naz Reid won by 10 votes last year. That's crazy. Malik Monk had 43 first team votes. Naz Reid had 45. Whoa, that's close. Dang, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was that close. Yeah, like I personally thought Malik Monk was gonna win it. Um, Dang, that's crazy. Let's check the uh yeah. Okay, on to things. So yeah, Norman Powell plus 1,600. Not bad. I mean, the he's still I mean Norm it's just I don't really like the team that he's on right now that much. Clippers, they're not that they don't look that good with Kawhi, especially with that knee. Just bro, someone I think maybe was it Perkins, Kendrick Perkins. Someone said, bro, you just gotta retire because that knee is just the knee's busted, man. Because yeah, well, I don't know how they really count the six man. Like, do you still get six man a year if he's because he could start. I don't think he would start for Kawhi unless they move like fuck, see that. They lost DJJ. Who is on there? Yeah, I mean, I would take honestly Norman Powell at plus 16 isn't terrible because he's usually up there in voting. So if you can get him up plus 1,600, isn't terrible. KPJ. How is Kevin Porter Jr. still in the league? Don't get it. Batum. Oh, Derek Jones Jr. is on. Yeah, I was right. It's still on the Clippers. Okay, no more six man a year. Let's go to. Did we do? We didn't do most improved, did we? No, we did not. Most improved. Victor Wembanyama at is number one at plus 700. I would honestly just do. I would honestly, I would probably take that because I would take that because I think that um you know what, let's take a break real quick. All right, we're back. Where were we? We were talking about Victor Wembanyama being plus 1,700 to do freaking all these crazy things. It's crazy to think that was last year was his is gonna be his worst year. Yeah. Let me say that one more time. Last year was is gonna be his worst year in the NBA. Hmm. Yeah. The guy Victor Wembanyama's his rookie year is it's just crazy. 21.4 points per game, 10.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.2 steals per game, 3.6 blocks per game, 46.5%, 46.5% from the field, 32.5% from the three. Pretty much an 80% free throw shooter and a 56.5% true shooting percentage. So most improved in the past. So if you look at the past, most improved players, like last year you had my gosh, I'm thinking of most improved player. You had Tyrese Maxey, who made an All-Star. Year before that, um, last year before the year before that, you had Lauri Markkanen, made an All-Star. John Morant, 2022, made an All-Star. Julius Randle, 2021, made an All-Star. So pretty much, honestly, if you keep going down, I want to say Goran Dragic, close to was Goran Dragic. I'm looking at this list. Goran Dragic had to be probably one of like the guys in the past 10 years, one of the only players to win most improved player, but to not make an all-star. Oh, wait. Holy smokes. He was all NBA. Third team all NBA, but never made the all-star when he won most improved player. Would you look at that? So it sounds like the criteria for most improved player is either um okay, so we're talking about Wemby being plus 700 for most improved player, um and how looking back at Goran Dragic, and the kind of the criteria for most improved player is that the expectations is either the very least they make an all-star. We were kind of looking down the list of guys in the past who have won most improved player. And if you keep looking down, Goran Dragic won in 2013, 2014 season. He didn't make an All-Star, but he was third team All-NBA. And last year, Tyrese Maxey won it. Tyrese Maxey ended up winning it, which, rightfully so. He did. He had a great season. Um, wow, okay. Interesting news. Yeah, so Tyrese Maxey ended up winning it last year. Most improved player. And he was really good for them, I honestly, it was big thing was um James Harden leaving for sure. I mean, Maxey down the stretch of the season, in 2022, 2023 was playing really well as was doing great as well. I liked Maxey in college. He hit this one shot and he put his little fingers under his nose. He said, "Man, that was a dirty shot." So if I'm looking at this list, Wemby definitely fits the criteria. Um, he could definitely be an all-star, definitely an all-NBA player. Um, but so do guys like Jalen Williams for the J-Dub for OKC. A great, one of the best 3 and D players in the league. Or can be, in my opinion. Evan Mobley, just wait. If Evan Mobley, great, one of the best defensive players in the league. If he gets that shot down, chef's kiss right there. Evan Mobley's plus he's third was plus 1200. I mean, quickly just got an extension with the Toronto Raptors. He could be really good. Kobe White, who arguably could have won it last year, he popped off like crazy. He was a lottery pick, was doing all right with the Bulls. Same draft class as Ja and Zion and those guys, that 2019 class. Um, but he was really good for the Bulls, like really, really, really good. So, and even Denny Avdia, he had a career year from every stat line. Threes went up, his three percentage went up, his points, his rebounds, everything went up. Denny Avdia is plus 4,000. That could just be my fellow Yid right there, fellow Jewish brother. Um, Scoot Henderson plus 3,500. I just don't know. Scoot's just he's just so raw still. Brandon Miller plus 4,000. His shot gets better a little bit. He looked really good. Jabari Smith plus 4,500. I like that. The Rockets just Jabari Smith, plus 4,500. He's on the Rockets. Um, they just have so many guys on that team. Like they just drafted Reed Shepherd. They still have Cam Whitmore, who they still haven't really used. Tari Eason's coming back. Um, Amen Thompson. Just so many guys. Who am I for? Shangoon's coming back from injury. Um, who am I missing here? Jalen Green. Like just so many guys. So yeah. But honestly, the fact that if you think about it, that Victor Wembanyama's worst year is gonna be was last season, then I think that I would probably be betting man. Or you go Josh Giddey plus 1,600. I mean, Josh Giddey was a triple double machine for a little bit his rookie year, towards the end of it. Cade Cunningham, new coach, new system. JB Bickerstaff, hopefully he can do some good things with him. Cade Cunningham was plus 1,800. You just kind of have to look at this and just be like, okay, what guys either can make at very least an all-star team or an all NBA team. At very least, an all-star team. And I'm looking at it. LaMelo Ball already made it, and some guys, can already make it, and then um, can do even better. Um, I mean, can have already made it in the past, and then can make it again. Just happened with Ja. Trying to, I just don't see maybe Derek Lively at plus 4,000 because he was really good for them down the stretch, and especially in the playoffs last year. Really good defensively, really, really good defensively. Um, Chet Holmgren plus 4,000. He steps up and does even better. Franz Wagner. People were wondering what happened to that shot. If he gets that shot down, his interior, he's a dog. He's great. He was one of my favorite players. Still is one of my favorite players to watch. Um, but yeah, so I'm just looking at this list. I mean, I think Palo still has another. I think Palo can still take it another level. I think he's still so much more to be unlocked with that dude. He is so good. I think his build, he's built like LeBron, and he's got the speed of freaking Ja. He's so fast too. But if we're looking at this, Scotty Barnes, yes, okay. So my final two, I'm gonna go with, um, I'm gonna go with Victor Wembanyama at plus 700, and I'm gonna go with Derek Lively at plus 4,000. There it is. Perfect. All right, now for most valuable baller or player. Excuse me. Luka Doncic is currently the favorite at plus 370. We also have second, not too far behind, is SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander at plus 425. And tied with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA is Nikola Jokic, the reigning MVP, who has won MVP 3 out of the past 4 years. Um, and fourth is Jason Tatum at plus 850. I remember I texted my buddy back in May, whenever the lines first opened for futures, Wemby was plus 4,000, and now he's plus 1,700. I wish I made text him to make that bet. We can't make bet. Only way you can make bets in Washington is at casinos. Um, he lives in Oregon, so um, sometimes I'll give him recommendations to make bets, like Corbin Carroll, Rookie of the Year, which he should have done. Should have listened to me. Um, but I'm looking at this list. Yeah, really surprising. Wow, they got They got LeBron behind Kawhi. Bro, Kawhi's not even maybe some disrespect on LeBron, in my opinion, because Kawhi's not even going to play the first month or something like that. With that knee, Zion plus 10,000. Okay, so it's really going to come down to like, so MVP really comes down to like record, like got to be a top. It's stats, and like top four in the conference. Yeah, top four or five, that top four in the conference, I would say for sure. Um, so if we're being realistic, Wembanyama plus 1,700. I I think the West is too tough. I don't. He'd have to put up insane numbers, like 30, 37, 37% plus from the three, 28 plus points per game. I mean, he averaged he averaged 10 point. Okay, so if he averaged 21.4 points last year, 28, let's say, okay, MVP number is 28 points. He had 10.6 rebounds. Let's go 13 rebounds. Let's go. I don't assists. I wouldn't blame him if they stayed the same or even went lower because he's got Chris Paul and Stephon Castle, and they don't have Jeremy Sohan running the point guard anymore. And one thing I think Devin Vassell will be coming back soon. Who I like, I think Devin Vassell is really good for them. Um, and they said his early timeline for Devin Vassell is early November. And then but his steals 3.6 blocks, maybe. I mean 3.6 blocks is still freaking insane. So maybe if he goes like four and above, like if he wins defensive player of the year, if he has like if he has those defensive player, like I said before about Giannis, if he has those defensive player of the year numbers and his numbers go up off go increase offensively too, then and the Spurs maybe finish like as a playing team, like an eighth seed, grounds for MVP voting. He'll get some voting for sure, but number one, I mean, you got to finish like a four seed. There's no one, nothing like too surprised. I mean, a lot of MVPs, the average age of MVPs is like 27, 28 years old. Um, so even if Wemby won MVP this young, that'd be fucking insane. Excuse my language, freaking insane. Holy sm Um, I mean, Jokic at plus 425, like to win another MVP, Jokic would have to like do something crazy. I mean, if they finish top two in the West without, they lost KCP, which was a huge, huge blow for them. They got Westbrook. We'll see how that does. Maybe he's not the shooter that KCP is, but decent defender, moves the ball around, but definitely not the shooter that KCP is. Um, John Morant plus 4,500. If the Grizzlies finish, second in the West, shoots like 38% from the three, 7 assists, 9 rebound. Nah, you want to get 9 rebounds. You get like 5 rebounds, 6 rebounds, you know. 30, if you can get 30 a game, I mean, honestly, I kind of like that. John Morant plus 4,500 MVP odds. Even give me Giannis plus 1,200. I mean, Giannis is the most dominant player in the NBA. Him in the interior was impossible to guard. And Jason Tatum plus 850, that's not terrible. I just think the Victor Wembanyama, he's too. It's not good enough because he's too young. I don't think the Spurs are good enough either. Um, but yeah, okay. So I had to pick two. I would go with John Morant plus 4,500 and no, mm, I was gonna say Palo at plus 12,000, but no, I'll say Morant at plus 4,500 and then Giannis at plus 1,200 for MVP. Okay, there you guys have it. Those are my picks for the Those are my little opening day picks for the NBA and who I think will win which awards. This is fun. Welcome back. Can't wait to keep you guys updated on how the season goes. This has been Jake with Klein's Corner. Thanks for listening.